I did it again. I made one mistake, but I just corrected it. I should have got this thing off first. All right. I'm trying out a new microphone. My friend Tommy Stiggs. I'm having when I switched uh, studios, I came up to where all the what do you call that thing? The router. The router is.
Give me the
comments. And
Give me the... Thank you.
And what I did was I brought the whole studio up to where the routers are, 3 stories high, so we don't freeze no more, nothing. Now this Thursday, I have a great guy coming on. He's an actor. He just produced a movie. In fact, he started and directed it himself. He's coming on this Thursday at 8:00 Thursday evening. The problem is, and I corrected the problem, is the studio downstairs was very, very big. I could have had 5 people in it. This room is very small. I turned this little room into a studio, and now I have to sit back a little like this, so there's room for him. When I move the camera, there's going to be plenty of room. But I had to get a microphone that would pick up our voices from 5, 6, 7 feet away. So tonight I'm trying out the microphone, and I guess it's working right. I have Tommy Stiggs watching, and he's going to tell me if it's okay. Shaman's watching, and but I think it's okay. So now what I'm going to do is I have 3 of my pals on from the old days at Monticello. I have Anthony, I have Dominic, and I have my old pal Charlie. Hi guys.
How you doing, Larry? Hi everybody.
And what we're going to do today, we're going to talk about Monticello racetrack, and I got to show you something because I learned how to put pictures up. So I'm going to show you something, and Charlie will get a kick out of this, I think. Let's see. This is that race.
I remember that one.
That's you, Charlie.
Up the number 3. I know. That's you, number 1 on the outside.
That's me on the outside.
We had a lot of horse there, Larry. What's going on there?
Well, looking at these odds, 7-5, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know, but there's something else I wanted to show you, and I think I put it up here. I think this is it. This is how the grandstands were. And then
oh my God!
You see that? The dining room was packed. Even outside was packed. Yeah. It was unbelievable time. Wow. And then, Charlie, because this is your first time here, I saw your picture. I haven't seen you in 40 years. Yeah, and when I saw you, you didn't have this beautiful girl at your side.
That's not. You know what, Larry? I think I'm with her about 40 years. You're kidding? We're married only 28, but we're together. I know it since she was 16 years old. We started going out.
I never met her, right?
No. She stayed away from the track. She was a Long Island girl, Larry, and she never left Long Island. I couldn't get her to leave. I was, me. We're traveling over the country with the horses. She would never leave Long Island.
Oh, Charlie, I had a picture of your wedding. I forgot to bring it upstairs.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah, you got to show that one. Almost the wedding. Yeah.
Well, you should have shown that one. When I knew that you were going to be on, I was looking for a bunch of pictures. I found this one. This is little Catello Manzi. See him up there?
Oh, yeah, young cat. Look at him. Yep, that's Steve, his brother.
His brother Steve. That's John Manzi. That's his wife.
Look at you, Larry.
That's me, and that's Aura. I don't know if you remember Aura.
Of course I knew Aura. That's Lord Vic. That was her name. I was trying to tell my wife. I was trying to think of Aura's name, of course.
Aura. Yeah, Aura.
Larry's girlfriend years ago. They was together a long time. Aura. She was a beautiful girl.
And he asked you what happened to her.
And could she cook, Larry? Could she cook or what?
Yeah, she could cook. I don't ever remember. I used to have. Anthony, Dominic, you must remember every Sunday I used to have a big thing at my house. Charlie, you never came, right?
Yeah, Monticello?
Yeah, no, in Florida.
No.
Yeah. You had that big table. It was like the Last Supper.
Yeah. Yeah,
And it was Jesus.
Charlie, you raced in Florida, didn't you?
Yeah, my first year. I'm thinking about. I'm watching. I'm looking online. Taking Monticello stuff from back from like 1974, 75. That 74, 75 season, and that was winter racing in Monticello. I went my first season in Florida was 74, 75. I was 20 years old.
What year was it, Charlie, that we were all in Pompano? Me, you,
That was probably 76, 77.
Johnny Boy, Ralphie Gigante.
That was the first one. I was the first to go down. Nobody, I heard about this place in Florida. I was so tired of racing Monticello, coming off the bike like this, hands frozen in the winter. I said, you know what? I'm going to try this Florida. And I went to Pompano, and then everybody started coming down after that. But my first year was 74, Larry. 74 and 75.
You bought us 2 plane tickets so we can go home for Christmas. You bought us 2 plane tickets.
Remember that?
Remember?
I remember that. You guys.
You know, the first year I went down there, you know how I went down there? I was in Monticello.
What year?
Oh, I got there in 71 or 72, but it was about 74. They winterized the barns. And we naturally, the snow was like crazy up there. It was like 3 feet high one morning, and I had a horse all hooked up in the shed row. And then I got to the sliding door at the end, and I pulled the door. It was frozen, and I yanked it hard, and it broke free. And as it opened, I started walking out. When it hit the back, it went boom. It made like a big noise. And I was halfway out, and all the snow from the roof came down, and the horse went nuts. I got covered. He ran off, and I told my brother, go catch him. I made a phone call to Alan Finkelson. I says, Alan, I need 20 stalls, and I'm getting the hell out of here. And I shipped right out of there. That was.
I couldn't take the winters up there. It was bad.
Yeah, it was tough. Yesterday, we're gonna for the folks listening, we're gonna talk about some of the stories from Monticello. And like I said, next Thursday, I got this actor coming on. You guys should listen to this guy. He's a real good guy. His name is, and how I got attracted to him from going through the YouTube channels. I saw his name, Kevin Interdonato. And I don't know if you remember, but there was a driver and a trainer called Bobby Interdonato.
I remember Bobby good.
You remember Bobby?
Yeah.
And
I know Bobby from the free old days. You kidding?
Yeah. And
I was 68, 69. Yeah.
He was a really good guy. So I contacted this guy. He's a movie producer. He had been in the movie business a long time, but now he makes his own movie. He's just coming out with one. In fact, it's out now called, I just watched it on Amazon Prime, called Bastard Sons. He wrote it, he stars in it, he directed it, and he funded it himself. And he made that whole movie for like $70,000. Unbelievable.
Wow.
And so he's going to be on Thursday night. But how I originally got him, when I was going through the stations, I saw Interdonato. And I asked him, when I finally contacted him, I asked him if he was a relative, and he didn't think so, but I never heard that name before.
That's not a common Italian name. But I remember Bobby Donato, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, he's a good guy. He's a big guy, right? Big tall guy?
Tall guy, yeah, tall guy, yep.
Yeah. You know, before we go on, I hate to bring this up, but he was such a good guy and a good friend. Tell us what happened to you, bro.
Oh man, I'll tell you what. You know what, Larry? This, my brother Tommy. Probably look. It's probably one of the best horsemen I've ever seen. All the years I was in, like this guy could train a horse like I never seen before. But he was still at it, working with the horses. I'm running all these dealerships, and he'd come and see me all the time, and he'd drive these jalopy fucking trucks and vans and stuff, and I'd put it in my shop, and I'd take care of it, fix it. Then I said, if the bill came, of course, I just put it on my tail. I take care of, through my company, and it was always thousands of dollars. And what didn't with him, Tommy had such a soft spot in his heart and my heart for him. Like him and I were so close, man. He could call me anytime. Charlie, I need 1,000. I need 5,000. Whatever it was, I always took care of him. It's just, if he asked me for it, I had to give it to him. That's what it was.
He's a good guy. What happened to him? I didn't.
He was still working down in Jersey. He was living in some motel, right down by the farms in Jersey, right? And he every Friday he'd come and see me once in a while, but every Friday he'd go to this little Wawa store, like a 7-Eleven Wawa in Jersey. It's like a little convenience store, and he get $30 ticket, scratch-off ticket. And Tommy got sick. He got lung cancer. He had a lung disease for like 10 years and beat that. He just kept going and smoking, working like an animal. Then he come up with lung cancer. And he just kept fighting that for like 2 or 3 years, 4 years. But while he was sick, he was still working and coming to see me. And he playing a scratch off. He hit a scratch off in New Jersey for $2 million.
Whoa.
Tommy.
Wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah. He calls me up one day. I'll never forget. Larry's on a Friday. Wow. He calls me up. And says, Charlie, I hit the lotto. I said, so what'd you hit? 1,000? What do you get? He said, a little more than that. I said, you get 5,000? He says, more than I said, get the fuck out. What'd you get? He says, $2 million. Let's get the hell out of here.
Yeah.
He hit for $2 million, but he was sick at the time. This is about 5 years ago. He's dead maybe 5, 6 years now, 5 years. Well, so he hits a lottery for $2 million. He's really sick. After about 6, 8 weeks, he finally gets the check. After he took a lump sum, so it was like 1.3 million, something like that. And then after tax, he came over $987,000 cash, clean.
Hey.
So he comes to see me. Now listen, he knows, he knows I don't need the money. But he says he gives me 5,000. I says, what am I gonna do with that?
That's one night out.
I says, you know what? I said, of course I didn't need or want it, but after that, I said, give me the fucking 5,000. Are you kidding me? I took the 5. He was giving 20,000 to guys at the track. He gave my nephew 50. Everybody, I must say, he must hit to like 200,000 to me, and I got 5,000. But you know what? He lived good. He went to Vegas for like 10 days. Spent some money, and then probably after he hit the money, maybe 5 months later he died. But it's funny. The story is he hits it on a Friday. Anthony, listen to this. He hits it on a Friday. He calls me on Friday. I'm driving home. He's telling me, "You son of a bitch." He's, "I'll see you tomorrow." He's at my dealership. I put him in a $45,000 pickup truck. Of course, I got to sign the note, everything else to put him in. He has no credit. He leaves the jalopy there and drives home in this purchase $45,000 truck. So he did, and I signed off the note. But yeah, he got the money, he paid the note off and stuff. But he left it that day. The day after it hit, he gets the truck. And then right before Anthony, about 2 weeks before he died, he's driving on a Jersey Turnpike. He drives off. Goes off the ramp and takes off into the traffic and just goes underneath the fucking 18-wheeler, rips the side of the whole truck off. He didn't even know it was there. He pulls off the road after he hit the truck and ripped the whole side off. He pulls off the road and goes into a gas station and tries to get gas. The guy says, "What's the matter? I'm trying to put gas in." The guy says, "Your gas tank is gone. Your whole door's ripped off." Even though, but that's when he had started going. The cancer went to his head and stuff. I'll tell you what. I watched him, Larry. It was the craziest thing. He got sick. He was in the VA home for about 10 days. We watched him every day. I was there every day with him. And the day he died, I tell you what, it's funny because I'm not that spiritual kind of guy, but I watched him, and he took his last breath. We're all there. We were about 10 of us in the room. Took his last breath, and we were like, man, we were all sad. Then I just sat back, probably about 10, 15 minutes after they pronounced him dead. I'm watching him, and I'm looking at him, and I tell you what, Anthony, and Larry, and Tom, all of a sudden, I'm telling you, the guy looked like he died in pain. 10 minutes later, he almost had a smile on his face. Wow. I got up, Anthony. I got up and stood next to the bed. I stood next to the bed. I'm like, son of a bitch, this fucking guy is not there. He's gone. Larry, it was like a shell. His body became like there was nothing there but a shell. He looked happy, and it was gone. His soul and body was out. And I'm not that kind of guy, but Anthony, I'll tell you, he died, I am. And he was gone, man. I tell you, his body and soul, he went to a better place.
Yeah.
I think after he hit for that millions of dollars, right? He took care of his kids and stuff. I said, God gave him a reprieve. They took him to heaven. He was definitely going to hell, the bastard. But after that, they said, all right, listen, the guy was good the day he died.
I got to tell you something. When I was up there, they had I got very, very friendly, as you guys know, with Charles Slusky, who owned the racetrack, and with Alan Finkelson, who was the promoter. He was everything up there. And one day, in fact, I was kind of responsible for having all of them groups up there. In fact, let me see if I could find one.
Like the stylistics and them. Remember that? Yeah.
Yeah.
Monticello.
They had all great groups. I thought I had a picture here of one of the groups. I guess I don't. But anyway, Alan Finkelson had it because there was a lot of good-looking guys up there. There was that Johnny DeSimone. There was the Carbone kid. You and your brothers, good-looking guys. Louis Gigani, Ronnie Pierce.
Ronnie Pierce, yeah. They're real Ron, yeah.
And they had who was the best looking driver trainer up there? And they all got on that stage up there, and I think the Carbone kid won. I think.
Who was a good looking? He was a good looking kid. Yeah.
Carbone too.
Herman's son, Herman Carbone's son, Phil. Yeah.
Phil Carbone.
That's what I wound up leaving Herman. I went on my own because Phil came out of college, and I was like Herman's first trainer. Like I was training from driving all his horses from when I first started driving. And Phil came out of college, and after like a year and a half or so, I helped him out, taught him a lot of shit, a lot about horses and stuff, how to drive and shit, just how to sit on a bike, everything else. But then Herman came to me one day and said, Charlie, unfortunately, I'm going to have to get my son involved a little more. I said, Herman, I was with Herman since I was 15 years old. I left school at 15 working for Herman full-time at Roosevelt. So I said, Herman, you were like a father to me. You don't have to explain that to me. I said, that's fine. It's your son. And he felt so bad, like he was almost in tears. Because Herman
over my house in Monticello just about every Sunday and cook. He loved to cook.
Oh, he cooked good too.
While he was cooking, he was singing. He sang good.
He
cooked good.
Delilah, he sang Tom John Delilah.
Yeah.
Remember the Chateau used to sing it? Remember across the street?
Yeah. I used to. Well, I hardly ever went there. I went to the Concord.
The Concord, yeah, sure.
I go to the steak pub, and every night me and Louis.
The steak pub, yeah.
Yeah,
I told you the story about that's what it was, Anthony. In the
steak pub, that's what you're trying to think of.
When I took a step out the door, I got whacked in the head by Stacks.
What?
You never heard that story?
No.
Yeah,
Larry. One night, I forgot. I think it was speedy counsel or something, but they came to me early in the day. So listen, we need you to stay out of the race. I said, listen, no problem, don't worry about it.
Who told you that?
This was Louis the Rock and Richard. Remember Richard Perry?
Oh. Yeah.
Those two jerkos. So I said to myself, you know what? Fuck them. I win the race for fun. I win it easy. So I'm having dinner in a steak pub. But then I realize I'm sitting there with Johnny Platino's father, a couple other guys, and me. I'm in the steak pub, having steak. I take one step out the door, but as I'm walking out the door, I look in the back seat of the car, and I see that face of that fucking Jew, what's his name? Louis the Rock. And Richard Perry, I think, was driving, Louis Rock in the back seat. I step out of the steak pub, I get whacked in the side of the head by the black Stacks from the movie, the real Stacks.
From the Goodfellas.
From Goodfellas. The guy cracked me in the side of the head.
Who was this guy Stacks you're talking about?
Remember Goodfellas when they Stacks played by Samuel L. Jackson? Stacks was a real guy. Stacks was worked with these guys. And this is about a few years before. It was years before what, 77, 78? This was in like 74, 75.
No, Samuel L. Jackson didn't play Stacks.
Yeah, he did.
That was it. Yeah. Oh,
that was him, yeah.
Okay.
But anyway, it turned out that, the long story short, the real Stacks, the guy whacked me in the head. But I got back into the steak pub. They realized I'm with Johnny's father. They know Johnny's father. And so they took care of him right away, like it was done. No big deal.
You got whacked later, so.
But you know what? Yeah. So meantime, that was Anthony. That was in the 70s. Now when I got in trouble in Florida in the late 90s and the early 90s, I got in trouble in Florida. Who was behind it? That fucking Louis the Rock. Louis the Rock. He got pinched a while ago.
A bottom-feeding scumbag who.
You know why? That's why Larry never got involved with that guy. But that's why he was always mad.
That other little pebble. They called him the Pebble. That other.
Oh yeah.
Whatever the fuck his name was.
Right, Louis the Rock, and there was a guy that called the Pebble. It was a little shit, yeah. The Rock and the Pebble.
He was a bad.
Joey, in 87, when I got out, I remember I gave Tommy all my equipment, my job card, bunch of shit.
Yeah.
How much longer did you stay in? I thought you kind of got out when I got out.
I got out in I got in trouble in '92. I think it was '92, and
You stayed a good 5
'92
years.
'92. I got in trouble in Florida. You know, I told you about what happened in Florida.
Yeah.
I think they had me up for a charge, Larry, called conniving. I said, "You're kidding me, right?" No, it's a new charge in Florida. It's called conniving. I said, "That's great. I've been in conniving my whole life. Are you kidding me? You got to be kidding." But they
named after you.
They say, yeah, they made it up just for me, conniving. Yeah. So I had two good lawyers. They said, you're gonna do 5 years. No big deal. You'll be out in a year. I said, no. I said, go back in it. You better get something else. 2 weeks later, they come up with 2-year probation and 10-year suspension from any racetrack in the country. That was in '92, and I took it. I was out ever since. I started in the car business in '94.
Wow.
Doing almost 30 years in the car business.
You're lucky. You in one way, you're lucky that happened to you.
Yeah, you know what, Larry, it's been good. I got into the business. You know, first couple of months was like, what am I doing? But then 6 months later, I'm running the whole dealership. After about a year and a half, I started managing stores. I was managing stores for the last 28 years, almost 30 years.
You know, when Roosevelt first opened, when I first got up there, I think it was in the '60s, early '60s.
Yeah.
Everybody that was up there was like guys like George Butterworth and Kenny Lawhorn and all
McKinney Lawhorn. I know those guys because I started. Yeah.
And Carmine and Lucian and all of them guys were up at Monticello, and then what happened was it was right around in the early '60s, I think it was. Then all the guys from when Pompano opened, all the guys, Stanley Dancer and all them old went to Pompano.
Yeah.
And all the guys from Monticello went to Roosevelt, and they stayed at Roosevelt and Yonkers, meaning guys like Cormier and Carmine.
And Johnny Chapman, Carmine, the Pop Fingers. Yeah,
right.
They all stay.
And they wind up staying there. And then I stayed up there with all of you guys. And the bottom line is everybody who left, and this is really not fair because there's probably one or two that are still up there. I'll tell you the truth, I don't know how they make a living. I really don't.
That's crazy. I couldn't even know.
Everybody who left there, I left because I was thrown out. I was barred. You too. But these guys here, everybody now is successful because they got thrown out or left the racing up there. And there's only probably 2 or 3 or 4 guys that are racing in Monticello that are actually making a living.
Just barely making a living,
everybody that left there, even Joe Rico. When Catello left, Joe Rico was there.
He was doing great in the real estate.
Guy, he left. Yeah. Now he's a very wealthy guy doing great in the real estate.
I had Long Island. I know Joey's doing great.
Yeah, everybody who left there wind up doing really well. And there's a couple of exceptions. They're not really exceptions. That Gerfine was one, but he dealt strictly with young horses, 2-year-olds up there, and then he got lucky. Do you know that I won his? Now here's a guy, Gerfine, who won 3 or 4 Hamiltonians. He was known as the guru and best trotting guy, this and that. And I won his first stake race with a trotter. I think the horse's name was Special something. I forgot the name of the horse. But what happened was, this was in the real early. I think it was right around, I was in Monticello, so it had to be 72 or 73. He had a horse called Special something, a 3-year-old trotter who was staked in New Jersey. He brought the horse down there, but she was the kind of trotter that when she make a break, very odd, because when she make a break, she didn't run, she fell.
Oh, shit.
Vernon Dancer drove her a first, in fact, and he drove her in a race. She made a break, she fell, and that's the race. Vernon Dancer broke his back and never drove anymore. So he brings the horse back up. Now, nobody wants to go near this horse because normally a trotter, as guys get older, they just want to drive trotters because they figure they're safer.
Hang up on the hobbles,
They just run. But this one just dropped. So nobody would drive it. So finally, he comes to me, and he says, "Would you qualify her and drive her?" And I said, "Yeah, but let me change a couple of things if I. And he said, yeah. So I changed a few things, and he shipped. I qualified her. He shipped it a freehold. So, and every time I show up at his barn, he says to all his owners, "This is the guy who won my first stake race because I won the first stake race he ever went in." Anyway, was it the Gabon kid who won the handsome contest, or it was either him or Ronnie Pierce, or you don't?
I think it was Phil. I don't remember. I think it might have been Phil.
Yeah, I think it was Philip.
Yeah.
Ronnie had a bad complexion. He had that, he had those holes in the face, Ronnie.
Who did that?
Ronnie Pierce. He had a bad complexion. Yeah, he didn't have like a smooth face.
Ronnie Pierce just contacted me. He said, "Well,
really?
a while back," and he said to me, he said, "This was right before COVID, when it looked like, well, I had a contract that they were making the movie, and then they bought the option for my movie and my life story for 16 months. They paid me for it, and then the next month when we flew out there, that they closed all the California down, and but Ronnie Pierce got a hold of me. He said, "Listen, if you ever need a harness driver," he was retired now. I think they put a couple of rods down his back.
Yeah, he got hurt bad, Ron. He was hurt. He couldn't even walk. This guy, his back was shot.
Yeah, and he said that he would, if I needed a harness driver, for the movie, that he would come. But I don't know if you guys remember this, when it was in the early 70s. It was the last race, and I had set the whole thing up, and he shows up, and he wasn't involved. He was one of the guys that just let go, and he shows up, and the horses, every horse in the paddock on cross ties went nuts, snapped cross ties and everything. Do you remember when he came in with the bear skin?
Yeah, with the bear. He found it on Route 17.
I'm laughing. The bear skin.
The horses went fucking nuts.
They're going nuts. I remember that, Ron.
Yeah, and all the horses went nuts. He fucked up the whole thing. And then he disappeared. They gave him a lot of days. Then he disappeared. Funny. He goes away to Japan or wherever the hell he went.
That's the greatest, man.
And then he come back, and I'll never forget the day he came back. He was gone for years. He come back at the Meadowlands. I'm in the paddock talking with the paddock judge then, who was Teddy. Teddy used to work for me. Do you remember when Teddy?
Yeah, sure, I remember him. Yeah.
Teddy used to work for me.
Yeah.
So I'm talking with the paddock judge, Teddy, and who comes walking in? Ronnie Pierce. And it was muddy, nasty out. Yeah. None of the drivers showed up to qualify. And he comes in to see Teddy. And that's why I said hello to him, because we raced with his father.
Donnie, Donnie, sure. Yeah. I remember Donnie. I raced with Donnie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
that's funny.
So to me, he was just a kid.
Yeah,
and he says, Teddy says, any driver that don't show up, put me on any horse. And he did very well, and he told the trainers, listen, if you want this horse to win next time, put me down.
Yeah, he was determined, man. I remember that, Larry. That's
to every barn. He used to go to each barn and ask everybody.
Remember
he hustled until he was in demand.
Hustle, man. I know Ronnie before he started driving, Larry. I knew Ronnie from Monticello, but I went to Rockingham Park. I brought a few horses there for Herman. And Ronnie came with me. Ronnie was there. I went a race one day. Ronnie wasn't even driving yet. He borrowed money from me to bet him. He had no money, had nothing, Ronnie. And he borrowed money. I gave him money. My blacksmith, I gave him money. Everybody was broke. I gave everybody, I said, go bet this horse. You can't lose. I went and paid like $29 with this horse. We all went out that night for steak dinners, but Ronnie wasn't even driving. Ronnie held the horses. My brother Ali was in the winner's circle with me. He was in the paddock with me. Ronnie held his head in the winner's circle. And then the blacksmith, the four of us all went out that night, just ate steaks, we drank, forget it. But we made it like 4,000, 5,000, 6,000. But then it was big money then, you know. But it's funny. That's funny story, Ronnie Pierce. But the best is the bear set was the greatest.
Yeah, I remember that story.
Remember that, Andy? You remember that?
I remember when it happened. Somebody went in.
Like in his clothes or something. Like
he found him on 17. That's where the bear was. He got hit by a car or something.
Yeah, he got the scent. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, Billy Parker up in Monticello. I have a great story about him. I'm not going to tell it now, but Billy Parker and Ronnie Pierce were two guys that they would, if you says you can have a room at the best hotel in Vegas, they would rather sleep in a treehouse in the middle of the woods.
Ronnie was like a real woodsman. Yeah, he was like a hunted woodsman. Crazy.
He'd rather go catch a fish in Kiamisha Lake than go to the steak club and have a steak.
Yeah,
well, hold on 1 minute, guys. Says I have a bunch of getting a lot of people on here.
Yeah,
you guys must be popular.
We're popular guys.
If there's any comments that you want me to say hello to anybody, all of these guys, Sheldon and John and Tommy Stiggs. What's he says? The sound Tommy Stiggs. Tommy Stiggs is the guy who helped me put this whole thing together when I first started. I didn't know it. Without him, none of this would be possible, along with Tom and Shaman. But Tommy got me this microphone that I'm trying out tonight, and he just says, the sound is great. Well done, Larry, and the fellas on the panel. Okay, that's Tommy said. He has a podcast. He has a great podcast in the morning, 7 o'clock, and they just talk about anything. And he has one at night too. If you ever get to it, it's called Tommy Stiggs Social Club. It's 7 o'clock in the morning. If you're up and you have time, just go to YouTube, go to Tommy Stiggs Social Club. And he talks about it, and he's a really, really good guy. In fact, he's responsible for probably the hottest podcast that's out there, that Joey Molino guy. You guys probably don't know him, but it's a very popular podcast. Anyway,
say hello to Shaman.
Tommy, thank you very much for your help. Shaman, you're on Shaman. Official. What's that say?
You're an official techie.
What's that mean? Oh yeah, I'm an official techie. Yeah. They don't know how many times I fucked up. I did a whole podcast 3 weeks ago. I forgot to hit live. I'm talking here for 45 minutes.
Nobody.
And Anthony calls me and he says, "You forgot to hit live," and it was like for nothing. But I got it down. I got it down pat now. And this guy Tommy Stiggs, my friend, he does this in the morning. All these people that come in, he answers them. He says, "Hi, Bobo. Hi, Robert. Hi, Aaliyah," and then he answers their questions very, very shortly. I haven't gotten up to that yet, but so far I got to this. I got this far, and that's great. That's why I have all my close friends on. So when I fuck up, it ain't like a catastrophe. I had Bobby Ches on. Remember the fighter, Bobby Ches?
Bobby Ches, yeah.
I had him on. I was.
Did you remember Bobby Ches? Yeah, he was good.
That one went good. That one went good.
That went good? Yeah. The one with Ian McKinley was a fucking disaster.
Ian McKinley.
Freezing.
Yeah, I froze it. But now I moved it up here. Everything is good.
Robert Bukowski says, all you guys grow mustache and wear sunglasses and be harness drivers again. You be the best.
Did you hear what he said?
Wear mustaches.
I think if I lost
mustache and go back to harness driving, we'd be the best.
Yeah,
I still do it.
I'm going to show you something. In fact, let me show it now. When my mother died, my sister got cleaned out the house, and she gave me these pictures. Where the hell are they? I know I put a whole bunch of pictures here. She gave me these pictures at Freehold. I probably don't have them. I put everything else in here but them. Anyway, so we don't have to talk about that.
Anthony and Dominic, you know a picture I want to see. Anthony and Dominic, you know a picture I want to see. One of my shed row in Florida with my two favorite people.
He has it. Larry
has those.
My mother and father. Yeah.
Oh man, listen.
Oh, they love you, Larry.
What's that?
That's me and John.
That was in Florida.
That's Florida? Whose dogs were they?
Pompano.
Yeah. Whose dogs were they? What was that? What dogs were
Some
they?
dog had puppies. I don't know.
No, that's funny. That's me and you. Look at it. Look at the hair on us, huh? We had some hair then. Both of us.
Yeah.
There's one, Larry. There's one with Anthony and Dominic's mother and father. Larry.
Yeah. I sent that one too.
Well, he sent me pictures that was sideways. I don't know how to straighten them out.
Flip them around.
Yeah, I don't know how to straighten them out. So the ones that came up straight.
But that one should have been right. The one
That looks good. Yeah, that came out good.
Let me. Yeah, what I was about to say before I found these pictures. These are 3 pictures my sister found before I went to. When I got bought out of Yonkers and I went to all these Mickey Mouse racetracks, the last track that I went to before Lincoln Downs was Freehold. Freehold. I was so happy.
Yeah, Freehold.
So I went to Freehold and I called up. In fact, this has something to do with my story, so I'm just going to say it. I called up a kid that eventually was one of my runners, Charlie. And I says, Charlie, I said, listen, I got sold at Freehold. I have a horse in, I don't know, in a couple of days. Get as much money as you could. And because when I got there, I was penniless. I was eating fucking pigeons for 2 years, 3 years on the road, starving to death. So I says, when I get to Freehold, get as much money as I could. The sheets came out. I'm in the go. And get as much money as you could and bet on this horse. He says, I have no money. I said, I don't give a fuck where you get it. Just get as much as you could. So I said, this horse won't lose. So he does. So I think this is. I have 3 pictures. I think this was the picture. Here's the race.
Wow.
Pocketbook Bill. You could see I win, but can you see the picture?
Holy shit! Yeah, you win by like 15.
Yeah, I win by 15 lengths. Okay. So now after that race, now if you notice, and this is one thing I noticed that one, and then the following day, this one, I won by another 10, 15 lengths, and then this one. Now, if you notice the first picture, I had no wheel discs. Them years, that was 1969.
Wow, yeah.
They
came out like 69, 70, yeah.
I don't think I've wheeled this on this bike, but that was about the time they were switching over. Anyway, that was the race. That's everybody says, how'd you ever meet Cabert, that fucking whack job that I owed all the money to?
Yeah.
When I come out after the race, I go to the grandstands to meet him.
Yeah, that was 69, yeah. You had the disc on there, yeah.
Yeah. When I come out after the race, I win. Now I want to go see Charlie and get my money. So I go see Charlie, and he's giving me my end, and who's standing with him is 2 guys, little Sammy and Cabert. Charlie, you probably don't know who they are. 2 fucking mass murderers, 2 whack jobs that you don't know the whole story, so I won't get into it. But anyway, that's how I met Cabert. He introduced me. He says, these are my friends I borrowed the money from. So they were very happy and very nice. I mean, who would ever think that Cabert killed 100 fucking guys? He was nice to me that day. The following year, little Sammy wound up killing somebody else, and he wound up going to jail. But that's how I met. That's how I met Cabert. Right there.
Wow.
When so naturally he says, "Listen, if you have anything else, let me know. Let me know.
Sure.
The next horse, I told Charlie, I says, tell these guys, they were nice enough to lend us the money. Tell them. So I think I went 3 or 4 races before the meet ended that I knew I couldn't lose, and I told them. And that's how I met Cabert, and that's how that whole fucking thing started. Because right after that, I went to Lincoln Downs. Right after Freehold, I went up to Lincoln Downs, and that's when I met the fat fuck Tony Schuler with Whitey Bulger and that whole thing.
Oh, Whitey
Bulger. Started. Then when I went up to Monticello, I got the addiction, and who did I call? Cabert, and that's what started the whole thing. But anyway, that's enough of that. Man. Charlie, tell me some stories. Tell me some.
There's the picture right there. There it is.
Yeah.
Larry, have you ever met his mother and father, the 2 of them?
No, she just made lasagna for him.
Oh my God.
You never sent me that picture, did you?
Oh,
Those
yeah, I think I did.
You probably sent it backwards or upside
No, I-
down.
Backwards.
You got to send it the right way up. I don't know how to turn the
I
picture.
redid them and send them to you. I redid them.
Oh,
and
my
texted them to you.
mother made him a tray lasagna.
Wow. Yeah.
Who?
My mother made him a tray. She made
Me?
you a tray lasagna. Yeah, and I brought it to your house.
Where, in Florida or Monticello?
Florida, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Florida.
Great people. I love those two. Like those two guys there. They're like my brothers, these two guys. Forget
I
it.
think my mother and father liked him better than us.
Yeah, they did. They're beautiful people, man. Beautiful.
Every day you say, how's Charlie? How's Charlie?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't see him every day.
I don't know. He's all right again.
No, then you have another brother in between you and.
My brother. No, you guys know.
No.
Me or those? Me?
Oh, you, Charlie. You didn't know.
Yeah. Tommy started business first, then me. I got involved. I was 15 years old when I got involved. I started working at Rolla at 15. Allie was still. Here's the story about Allie. Remember Allie worked with Louis Giganti. Remember my brother Allie worked with Louis and Jerry Glantz. They had horses there. My brother worked for Louis. Anyway, I was already in business for 3 or 4 years already. I was working with Herman at 15. I got thrown out of school. I started working at Roosevelt. But Allie came like years later, about 4 or 5 years later, 5 years later. Allie stayed around the streets in Long Island. Allie got involved with heroin, shooting it up, Larry, right? So we're up in Monticello, me and Tommy. I'm probably about maybe 16. Allie's about 19. And we said, you know what? We got to get him out of Long Island. So me and Tommy went down and grabbed Allie and brought him up to Monticello in one of the bungalows. We kept him in there, Larry, for probably 3 weeks out. One of us was there the whole time. We went through withdrawal. Like, it's the sickest thing you ever seen. But we stayed with him. He was sick as a dog for 3 weeks to get the heroin out of him. He got out of it. Came clean. Never touched it again. Stayed stayed with the horses. He was doing okay, doing good. Then he came to Florida with me. He was doing good a couple of years with me, and then he wound up getting out of business, and he started working in Florida. He stayed in Florida, got married, kids, had 2 businesses. Allie was doing great. All of a sudden, he comes up with hepatitis C. And he goes to the doc. And he was like, he had a maintenance company in the hospital. He owned the company. He was doing really well, Allie. Had a big house in Florida, a couple of kids. He goes to the doc. Doctor says, you got hepatitis C. He says, well, how'd I get that? He says, you got some liver damage. He says, what are you talking about? He says, do you have a transfusion recently? Did you do any blood work or needle work or anything recently? He said, no, I don't have anything. He said, let me ask you another question, just for the hell of it. Now, I'm telling you, now he's in his 50s. Here he is. We stopped when he was 19. So he said, the doctor says, you ever do recreation when you're young? He said, oh, yeah, when I was younger for about a year. Bam, he got from a dirty needle, had hepatitis. It went to his liver. Then he had like cirrhosis of the liver. Then he put him on a liver transplant. He was like number 1 on the liver transplant in Florida. They treated the liver. They checked him 3 weeks later, and it was clean. They said, okay, good. They put him at the top of the list. They checked him 3 weeks later. After that, Larry, another 3 weeks, he had spots back in his liver. They took him off the list. He died 6 months later. Liver cancer.
Jesus Christ.
He was 62 years. Allie died at 60 or 62. Tommy died. He turned 70 when Tommy died of lung cancer. Allie's gone about I'm 70, so he would have been. He's got about 10, 11 years, Allie. Tommy's about 5. So they're both there. But they were both in the business. But, I mean, Tommy started. Tommy stayed with it. I stayed in for a while. Allie got out early. I stayed, of course, until I got thrown out in the 90s, 92. But, look, I can't regret it. I'm doing this car business for almost 30 years. It's been good to me, Larry. Very good. It's once you get.
What is it, a Honda dealership you work at?
I'm a general manager of a Honda dealership now. I'm there almost 9 years. But I ran about maybe 15 different dealerships, and I went in as a general manager. And when you walk in like that, Larry, they pay you stupid money. You demand and they pay you because you're going to straighten the whole store out, which I did so many times. And I landed in this dealership about almost 9 years ago. And I've been there. This will be the last stop. That's it. But the guy treats me well, pays me a lot of money.
What do they do up there with their trade-ins? They send them to auctions, or
some auctions. If they're crap, I'll send them. If they're real junk, I'll send the auction. I mean, I'll have a wholesale buy them. If they're retail, I retail out of them. That's good. It's stupid. I'll tell you one thing. After running dealerships, and I see what we do. It's crazy, stupid money. My owner, she's a 85-year-old woman, and her son is part owner. He's like 62. The guy he stays up in his office. Whatever I say, I can tell him anything. It doesn't matter. People come in and complain. I want to see the owner. I'm the owner. They can see me. They won't see anybody else. He won't talk to nobody. I run the whole store. But they net profit. These stores are netting, like this store, a little mom and pop store, nets 1.3, 1.4 when I got there. I had a $7 million net profit a couple of years ago during the COVID. Now we're still at 2.5 million net profit every year. So you're talking net profit after everything. I got 15 salesmen. I got 7 girls in the office. I got 5 managers under me. I got a service about another 45 people working service. So it's a great business. You can't in a dealership. If you run it right, get the right people, you can't lose. It's a big money in it.
Oh, good for you.
But yeah, a few more years. When I turned 70 a few months ago, he says, "Can I get another 5 years?" I said, "Easy." I said, "I'll guarantee you 2 more." But it's so easy, Larry. It's 8 miles from my house. It's easy work. It's not hard.
Why would you ever quit?
I told him, I said, I'll see me in 2 years. We'll talk about it. But
from the last time I saw you until now, you probably gained 50, 60 pounds.
60 pounds. I'm a fat slob. Like I said, if I lost, because I just went to the doctor this morning. He says, "You're in fucking great shape." I'm like an animal. He says, "The only thing, you better lose some weight, Pat." So I said, "Thank you, Doc. But if I lost 50 pounds, I could drive a horse tonight because I feel great."
Yeah, you, Johnny DeSimone and Ronnie Pierce, you all were the same size, all skinny.
Yeah. I was a little skinny thing, yeah.
Yeah, now you.
That's funny. You took out Ronnie DeSimone. There's another kid. I always think about this one kid that I drove horses for his grandfather. You remember old George Napatano, right? The old man?
Of course.
Georgie Knapp. So I drove.
I raced with his father.
With George's father.
Then the guy you're talking about, and then his sons.
Old man George. Then I drove for old man George. Then I drove for George's son Joey, Joe Napatano. Then now George Napatano Jr. He gets in the business when he's like 23 years old. Never was around the business. He didn't like it. He was riding a motorcycle in Long Island. So now he wants to train horses. I'm in Florida. I stayed in Florida. So I was like, I think I was in between, between divorces, whatever it was. I don't know what I was doing, but I was working with him. I trained some of his old. I drove some. I won for some races for him. He was a trainer. Now he wants to start driving. He's sitting on the bike. He was like sitting. I said, "What the fuck are you doing?" I said, "Well, you got to see." He's trying to qualify a horse. He looked like shit. I said, "Get back." Brought it back to the bar. So I get in the bike. I said, "Now sit back, relax, lean back a little bit. Stop sitting up like this. Stop whipping like this. Come from the side like this." I'm telling him all this. So he started like getting better slowly. The kid, the kid's one of the top drivers in the country. Now he's getting up. He's almost 60. He's about 58 years old, 59. But he's getting up.
That whole family, from the grandfather, they're all fucking nuts.
Yeah, they're crazy. But I drove for all 4 of them. I drove all of them. I drove also. I used to drive in Liberty Bell for the old man with what's her name, Gals Bundy. I win a couple of open paces for down there. But the whole family. But it's funny because you go to George today and say, "George, who taught you how to drive a horse?" He'll say Charlie J, because he didn't know shit. But he became a top guy. As I say, you talk about Ronnie Pierce. He was holding the horse's head up in Rockingham Park for me. He never drove a horse before. He was working with his father. He was like a little bum. And about the Meadowlands thing. Remember I remember when he came to Meadowlands, he had an old broken down truck with a fucking canoe strapped to the top. You remember that?
Yeah,
he had a canoe on the top of his old truck, and he came out of the fucking truck and went into the paddock. Larry, true, you said the story before me. He went in there and he didn't know who he was. He said, "I'll drive that horse. I'll drive. Nobody shows up. I'll drive him. And the rest of you say,
barn to barn. I remember that.
Yeah, barn to barn.
Yeah.
And what happened to the Ingrazia brothers?
Huh?
What happened to the Ingrazia brothers? Those maniacs.
Oh, they were great. Look at Ronnie and Johnny. They were great. I love those guys.
They're all dead now.
Ronnie's dead, right? How about John? That's married to what's her name? The girl.
John, that was Frankie's married to.
Frankie married to the girl. That's right, Frankie.
He's the only one that's still alive.
Still alive, Frankie. Yeah, with Jacqueline. Yeah.
Jacqueline. Yeah.
Yeah. They were good guys. They were good.
They have maybe 10 horses.
Larry, you remember we did a couple. We had a couple. Some fun. Me, you, Larry, Ronnie, Louie. We had a couple fun races up there. I remember that.
Yeah, well, that's the only thing that kept me alive.
You remember Joel Rothstein? He meet us over in the steak pub. He'd come up from the city. Remember those days?
Who?
I remember like it was yesterday. Joel Rothstein. Remember the Jew, Joel Rothstein?
I know.
He was an owner, but he would go down and go to all the OTBs in the city. Make bets to come up.
Me? I don't remember.
He came up with we had a few good. We had a few.
Oh, Joel, that little short kid.
Joel Rothstein was a Jew, little skinny Jew. He had his ugly wife. He owned some horses. Joel Rothstein. And then his son. Remember, some Doug Rothstein started driving. His son sucked too. He was trying to drive horses. He was horrible. Don't forget him coming and going like this across the tail here. 8,000.
I know.
Yeah, that happened a few times. I thought you were right there with us.
Well, when they asked me to write my book, I had to spend about 6 months making phone calls because I can't remember anything. So whatever stories I got in, and I got 1 million of them in,
yeah.
Then I just had to kind of put them in what year and everything. That's why somebody said,
I want to when this movie coming out, this book and movie. I want to see it because it's got to be a number one seller.
Charlie, the book been out for 5 years already.
Yeah,
you kidding? I got to see this. What about a movie? Now we got to get the movie.
The movie, look, I signed a contract in 2019, $100 million budget. I had Nicholas Pileggi, one of my writers with Richard Price.
Yeah.
Signed the contract, and we were supposed to go. We're supposed to go to. In fact, I should have the picture up here. I have the picture when they all flew up here to meet with me, meet with everybody. I have a picture. I should put it up. I don't know how to go find it and put it up. I should have put it up. But Pileggi, who wrote Casino and Goodfellas, he was writing my story. And then we fly out to California, and COVID hit. We had to come back.
That hurt.
And then after 2 years, the option ran out. They asked me to re-sign. I wouldn't re-sign because it'd be another 2 years before they can get to it. And so now, and then the writer's strike, and on and on and on and on. So otherwise, it would have been out there already. So anyway, that's the story. But you should go on Amazon.
I could get the book, right? Yeah.
Just go on Amazon, ask for the book "Against All Odds" by Larry Rolla, and read it. I made the print big, so you don't even need your glasses to read it.
I think you read it to you.
Yeah, I'll order it tomorrow. I'll order it tonight when I hang up. I want to read that.
Anthony, like you told him to tell him to get the book too.
Listen, he busted my balls about this camera. I got it. If I didn't get it, he's gonna come after me. I couldn't wait to see my man Ming down there. Look, I call him Ming Gutch down there. My man Ming Gutch, Dominic.
Your cousin still get in touch with me.
Oh, Joey?
Joey.
Oh, Joey, yeah, he always does. I was at a thing. They had a birthday party. Him and his wife. The kids threw a birthday party about 3 months ago. It was great, man. It was good.
They
got some time. I got some pictures of that too. I'll send to you.
You don't go to the track no more, right, Charlie?
No, Larry, I own. Now I don't know if you know this guy, Monty Gelrod. You guys know him. He was a fucking Jew bastard. Monty Gelrod.
I know him very well.
You know Monty. So Monty, I'll tell you a quick story about him. The boys did. Anthony and Dominic know. We're in Florida, and I'm in Ali started driving. I'm driving already for years, and I'm winning races in Florida like crazy. I'm doing good. But my brother Ali has a P license, so I got to give him a couple of drivers. So I'm in the grandstand watching my brother Ali race. He's got a horse in. I forgot what it was. The horse should have won. Ali finished second one. So I'm standing in grandstand, Anthony, Dominic, right, Larry, and I'm standing there with a few people, and I hear some guy behind me saying, "That fucking asshole Charlie Giamanco fucking puts his stupid fucking kid brother on there." I turn around like this. I says, "Who the fuck are you talking about? What are you talking?" He goes, "Oh, look at this guy. How's he put his fuck?" I says, "I'm Charlie Giamanco, you fuck." He goes, "Oh, sorry." He gets all fucking scared. He was working with old man Gene Sears as a groom. So he was filthy, dirty. This is Monty Gelrod. Filthy, dirty with fucking, ripped pants, dirty fucking beard, long hair. So I said, he walks away. I walk away. I said, "Get the fuck away from him." He was a real jerk off. So the next day, I'm in my barn. I don't know if you guys were there. Who comes walking? This animal with this beard. I says, I met you last. I said, "Listen, what do you want?" He says, "No, I just, I wanted to probably like this." I said, "Listen, don't Get the fuck out of here with that beard and that hair. Get out of here. He leaves. He comes back the next day. Larry's hair done. He's got the little mustache like me. I'm like, can I help you? He says, I'm the guy. I says, the fuck are you doing? He cut his hair. He wanted to look like me, this fuck. Anyway, he started working me. He quit fucking jean shares. I hired him to work with me. He was a regular guy, so I hired him. He worked with me for a couple of years. Bought some horses. I raced horses with him. And so long. He had a couple of horses. I drove him. Then he went on his own, the whole thing. And then he was involved. My brother, him and Tommy involved. Then he got involved with Robinson from Canada, which he did well.
Yeah.
But long story short, we lost a little contact. Him and my brother had it out. Him and I lost contact. I'm running dealerships. About 4 years ago, we talked to each other. I invested. I probably bought into like 3 horses. I spent about $40,000, 45,000. I raced him for about a year and a half with him. He was the kid. I forgot the kid's name in Jersey. Scott Dominico. He's the trainer. Good kid. Good trainer out of like Ohio or something.
No, I know.
Anyway, yeah, Scotty. So I bought it. I owned a piece. I got a third. I had a half of one. A third of a couple others, and we raced them, made money. They won. He was buying these horses like from fucking these bull rings, buying them. We bought them cheap enough. We all put in the money to race them. They win a few races, we'd get rid of them. So I did it for about a year and a half. But I'm watching here. I'm looking at a computer at work. I'm running the fucking dealership like this. I go get that guy over there, and I'm watching on another screen the races, and I'm watching fucking these guys. A couple guys driving and pulling fucking the wrong. And I won a few races. I won like 7, 8 races. One of them, the other one won a few. And wind up, I said, Monty, get rid of them. I can't fucking take it anymore. I can't watch them while I'm running a dealership, watch them, and get rid of them. We sold them all. If I invested 40, 50,000, 60, whatever it was, I got back that money. I probably made about another 20,000 on top of it.
When he went with Robinson and all that, they all had trouble with the drugs and everything else.
Yeah.
He came to me and bought a bunch of thoroughbreds. I was with Mike McCarthy.
The thoroughbreds, yeah. He wanted me to do that too.
Yeah, he got involved with that. That's a whole other story that I.
Yeah, listen. He's a shifty bastard. He was okay, but you got to watch him, man.
Yeah,
he was the guy you got to watch. He's still like we're still friendly. We lost a little contact. He wanted me to buy into a thoroughbred, a filly or something like that. And I said, I get the filly, I'll put it. He wanted me like 30,000, something like that. And this is a few months ago, maybe 5, 6, 7 months ago. And I said, at the last minute I pulled the plug, and he got mad. I said, fuck you. I hung up on him. And like 2 weeks ago, he called me. He said, what are you doing? I said, now you want to talk to me? But I don't want to I can't get involved anymore.
Charlie, don't get involved.
No, I did it for a little while with him. I made some money, and I got out of it quick.
Listen.
It was fun just to watch. I went down to the barn a couple of times, but that was it.
Coming up on an hour, and you have 10 comments.
All right, listen.
Check your comments.
I got to check the comments. My man here who reads the comments, I'm supposed to be reading comments and answering questions at the same time. So just
that's back at the beginning. So come down and watch. Stop around.
There's a million fucking questions here.
Stop there.
I'm not good at this stuff. I just learned how to put.
Yeah, but if there's a lot of questions, I think we're doing a good job. You got a good show here, Larry. Are you kidding?
Yeah, they are. It's a good show. Everybody, I wish I knew you guys back in 1969. Leah. Is Leah a girl's name?
Yeah.
Leah's a girl. Who's Leah?
I don't know, but I mean, maybe she should have put a picture up there. And you guys, how old are you?
I turned 70 in February. 70.
How old are you?
They're both a little younger than me.
I'll be 69 in October.
And Dom, you're already 72, right?
Hey.
Yeah, I'm 70 now. Yeah.
What were you 70? You just turned 70, right?
Hey, yeah, May.
Hey, yeah, I turned 70 in February. Yeah. I know you and I were close. Anthony was a little younger than us.
Yeah, I got the same birthday as Larry.
Same day?
Yeah, October.
I like that.
Here's
a
guy, James. He says, I was at Finger Lakes when Mike McCarthy was there. Tallest jockey I ever saw. That's right. He left Finger Lakes and he came to Delaware Park. And
Thoroughbred, yep.
He was the leading jockey there for 9 or 10 years straight. And I was the one that when I had horses and I didn't have a license, I went under Alan. You remember Alan Seawall? He started in the Standardbred bit. You don't remember him?
You
But anyway, I was the one that convinced Mike McCarthy. He was 5 feet 10 inches or 5 feet 11 inches.
tall jockey, man. He must be like a toothpick.
Oh God, he was the hardest working guy I know. He'd go up at 5 o'clock in the morning, go to the barn, ride horses for whoever he was working for, whoever. And it was probably Iwinski. He was one of the leading trainers there. And then at 10 o'clock when the track closed, he'd get in that hot box
And just shrink down.
sweat for hours.
Yeah.
And after maybe 10, 11 years, I was living with him for a couple of years. And I said, Mike, I says, you got to pack it in.
He was
My
killing
whole
himself,
body
yeah.
was failing.
Yeah.
Because there was a trainer there, a jockey there called Mike Colton, Robert Colton. And he invented some kind of thing where it could test your body fat. And because jockeys were dropping like crazy. They were dehydrated, no body fat.
Sick,
And
they get sick, yeah.
they were dying.
Their organs would shut down because all the shit used to throw up and everything else, yeah.
And he invented this thing that if you didn't have more than 3% body fat, you couldn't ride. And anyway, Mike packed it in. And I taught him. I stayed with him for about a year and a half after that. Taught him a little bit about training and conditioning and lameness and everything. And then that was it. He didn't like it. He was used to them $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 a week paychecks when he was a jockey.
Jockey, yeah.
Instead of getting $4,000 or $5,000 a month from, it was bullshit money for him. And he packed it in. Now he just rides. But his son is one of the leading jockeys in the country now.
Wow.
I have the picture. I was picture of me holding the horse when he put his kid Trevor on his first horse. He was only a baby. Anyway, listen, guys, this was good. Anthony, you have to stop butting in all the time and talking.
I know. What am I going to do?
No, not Anthony. I meant Dominic. Dominic. I think he said 3 words in an hour.
Yeah, Don, you better be quiet, you.
Charlie, give me a chance to talk. This one over here.
Charlie was great. So we got
my wife says, "Can't you ever shut up?" Because I talked to a lot of people, a lot of friends, and she says, "Can't let them get a word in. You don't shut your mouth." If she was here, she'd start laughing, because I keep rattling on. But guys, let me tell you, this was fantastic. This was great, man. I mean,
I got to ask you one question, Charlie. Maybe anyone you 3 would know. Lou Giamanco, to me, probably the prettiest girl in Monticello was Ralph Ferroni's daughter, Gina. Do you remember her?
I remember her.
Ah.
I was the first one with her. First one.
I had to help Charlie talk her.
Ralph called
marrying her.
Ralph, the father called me. He bought her a trailer. She was like 16. He bought her a trailer to live in. Ralph called me in the trailer with her. So she was my girlfriend. So he says, "That's it. Let's go. We go to lunch." I'm like 19, 18. She's 16. He brings us to Joe Rico's father's place, the Italian place. We're having drinks. So he said, "Listen, kids, I don't know what's going to go on here." He says, "But you can't keep doing this." He says, "Something's got to happen." He says, "I said, what are you talking about?" I said, "Well, you're going to have to do something." He said, "You're going to have to get married." I said, "All right," because listen, I'm 18. He's a little doll, 16. I'm not giving that up. So I says, "Hold on." He says, "But listen, you cannot stay with my Theo with the Italian accent. You got to get married." I says, "Okay." He says, "Joe, bring the wine." So like I says, "Oh shit, what the fuck did I do?" He was getting us married. So no, she was a sweetheart. Gina was a sweetheart. I was with her.
It was gorgeous.
I was with her for a year.
Louis probably went out with her after you.
I broke up. We broke up or something. Louis started going out a little bit too, and so did she. Wound up with Steve Manzi. She married Steve.
She married Steve Manzi.
Yeah, that's right.
But I know Gina since I'm 10 years old.
Yeah. They know Gina and Ralph since they were kids. Yeah. Anthony and Dominic know him.
That's how I got in the business through Ralph. He lived downstairs.
You remember? That's how I met Gina. Through you guys. We were friends already. You were Ralph. Gina came around. We were all friends already, and I started dating her.
Do you know that Ralph was a singing bartender in a club in the Bronx?
He was a lot of things.
Ralph was something else.
I got a lot of pictures of Ralph when he was young.
Yeah.
Younger and
You
stuff.
do? You gotta send me them pictures.
I'll send them sideways.
There was a picture. I see one in the Monticello thing on Facebook where Ralph was on top of a horse, like riding it, and Gina was like holding his head. She was like 16. She's beautiful.
You know what I can't find? I had a picture of my uncle. They had the jockeys in Monticello driving horses in the
Oh
race.
yeah, top. Yeah, that was good.
He won the race.
Yeah.
And I had a picture of him in the sulky. I don't know where the hell it went.
Fun stuff, man. Fun.
Yeah.
To show
Larry, I gotta say, great seeing. I hope we do this again. But great seeing you, Larry. These guys I talk to a lot. We stay in touch, Anthony and Dominic, all the time. Like I said,
we got you're a great guy to have on because you got a million stories and you talk.
We got plenty of them. I got a million of them too, Larry. I was thinking about writing a book and then having a movie too. I just never got to it. Everybody tell people my story. They all say, "Hey, you got to write a book about it." I listen.
And next time you got to give us the chance to talk. You know what I mean?
I'm done. Dominic, you better talk next time. And Anthony, you don't shut up. Me and Larry talk too much.
And you know what, Anthony and Dominic, your uncle's son has a couple of dealerships down.
Yeah.
He has a Honda dealership. Yeah, he's part of
America.
in Minneapolis, Maryland.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember he's had dealerships a long time.
Yeah, he was in that a long time.
He owns a couple of thoroughbreds too.
Yeah, he owns a couple of thoroughbreds. They're doing
does?
too. Yeah. They won a few races. Yeah.
Charlie, thanks for coming on. We're gonna do it
my
again.
pleasure, man. Thanks for having me. Believe me, thanks for having me. I love to do it again. Anthony, Dominic, I love you guys. You know that.
Yep. Same here.
You're my brothers, Larry.
I think I said hello.
But listen, let's do it again, though.
Yeah.
We're gonna do it again.
I
I'll
didn't
let
put his
Anthony know.
fucking camera for nothing, Anthony. We're doing this
Yeah,
again.
see?
You buy this fucking camera. I don't know how to work it.
Anthony, make him buy the book. Okay, I'll send you.
I'm going to buy the book and send it to him.
Against all odds, Larry Rolla. I know what it is.
Yeah.
We'll read it.
All right. I'll see you. I'm signing out.
All right.
Guys.
Take care. Anthony, Tommy. Love you guys.
All right.
Okay. That was another good show. I didn't make any mistakes. Now I just have to go to the ending. And now, guys, just come in Thursday night at 8 o'clock. I have Kevin Interdonato on. He's going to talk about his movie. And then I got to pick his brain because right now in fact, I have it right here. I have a whole thing that I put the actors. They asked me to pick out 5 actors that I would like to play me. But anyway, we're going to pick his brain all about the entertainment, the movie business down in Hollywood and all of that kind of stuff. I thank you all so much for coming on. And that's it. See you Thursday night, 8 o'clock.